If you want to become successful on a business or personal level, you might have to picture yourself as being a chef. Yeah, you heard that right. A professional kitchen requires the chef to live by the principles of execution. The chef knows what they have to do, and they just do it, day in and day out. Business is not that much different. Neither is personal development. There is a direct correlation between building wealth and taking action. Wealth is not something people can make, but rather something that gets transferred from one person to another. A business is a service or a product that becomes useful to people in order to convince them that they need to exchange their wealth for that product or service. To get to that point, it is not enough to wish about it. One has to take action that has been directed by a set of goals and plans. Personal development and habits work the same way. Action is what always gets you there. However, it is important to emphasize that action needs to be focused and specific. It needs to be attached to an outcome. As J.F. Kennedy said, courage and efforts are nothing without purpose and direction. It is true. This is how setting goals, having a plan, and taking action all tied together. A famous example of this is Elon Musk. Being the founder of several successful companies like SpaceX, Tesla, Neuralink, and the Boring Company, Musk is known for setting ambitious goals and taking bold actions. For instance, his goal for SpaceX was to make space travel possible for everyone and to colonize Mars, a vision that seemed outrageous to many. However, with consistent action and determination, SpaceX is now at the forefront of the private space industry. Do you think things were easy for him? Not at all. Musk had to work along with others, convince the banks to give him massive loans, and face several failures. But as he said in one of his interviews, he never gave up. Musk knew what he wanted to achieve, and he had figured out a way to get there. On the other hand, maybe you don't know all the steps you need to take right now. What can a person do in such a situation? Well, make the first step. The point is always move forward. Once you do, the first step will expose you to a second step, and so on. Jeff Bezos, for example, had no idea how to get Amazon to the point it is today. He started Amazon as an online bookstore with the goal of making it the everything store, without knowing all the steps. Despite facing skepticism and financial challenges in the early years, Bezos stuck with his vision and continued taking action, gradually expanding Amazon's product offerings. Today, Amazon is a global e-commerce giant. Before moving any further, it is apparent that setting goals has to be interconnected with a determination to follow through. Writing down things you need to do without actually doing them will lead you nowhere. Goal setting and taking action are twins. With that being said, let's take a look at how a person can set goals that will catapult them forward and actually take them closer to their goals. The SMART principle tells us that goals need to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Now let's break those attributes down one by using a familiar example. Let's suppose you have a business and you decide to focus more on inbound marketing, which means you will try to use your social media in a way that will appeal to your potential customers and pull them inwards. You already have a plan. Now it's time to put the SMART goals principles to action. To make the plan actionable, you need to make it specific. For the sake of this example, we will assume that you decide to create 15 social media posts. You will have them ready to go and upload one every other day, which means your social media will be covered for the next month. The goal is specific. Create 15 posts for my social media. Despite it can be way more specific once it is combined with the other principles of the SMART concept. The goal should also be measurable. This means that it should be fitting in some scale which can be measured. In our example, the social media posts can be measured by engagement. Not only can you see if your posts are getting reactions, comments, and views, but you can also use more advanced tools to examine metrics such as the time a visitor spends browsing around your page or that specific post. Since your end goal is to get real-world results, it makes perfect sense to set measurable goals. The same principle would apply in everything. If you want to lose some belly fat, you could get a measure and see how many inches wide your waist is. Then, after taking action and committing to your plan, you would measure your waist again to see what results you got. A goal that is not measurable is not going to provide significant feedback, hence making it harder for you to readjust your approach. The third attribute of the SMART principle is that goals need to be achievable. A goal that is not achievable is not actionable. Think about it this way. If you want to achieve something big, you probably won't know what your last steps will need to be. But never use that as an excuse for inactivity, quite to the contrary. The important thing is to ask yourself what you can do now. Once you have that, do it. Then the next action will appear, and so on. Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx, started with the goal of making a comfortable, invisible undergarment to wear under white pants. She took proactive steps such as patenting her designs, cold calling manufacturers, and personally selling her products to Neiman Marcus. Today, Spanx is a billion-dollar business, and Blakely is one of the world's youngest self-made female billionaires. In our inbound marketing example, our goal of creating the posts and actually posting them is perfectly achievable. The only way to not achieve it is by you stopping yourself. No matter how small it may seem, it is what you can do now, and it will always take you to something greater with time. Every little goal you achieve is a seed planted that will eventually lead to something bigger. According to the SMART principle, our goals need to also be relevant. This simply means that our action steps need to align with the end result we have in mind. The beauty of this concept is that it applies to all the little details. If your business prioritizes attracting new customers, it makes sense to spend some more of your budget to marketing efforts. If you want to lose weight, it doesn't make sense to drink sodas and eat sweets. Life often catches us off guard and becomes very easy to get carried away by sweating the small stuff. It is so easy to lose yourself in doing meaningless actions that masquerade themselves as important actions. Learn to differentiate between the meaningless and the important in order to make sure what you do is relevant and takes you closer to the end result. Lastly, your goals should be time-bound, which means you need to have a time frame for their completion. In our example about the social media posts, you need to commit yourself and actually set a time limit about their completion. How many days will it take to complete those posts? 1 day, 2 days, more, less? Push yourself a bit and be dedicated to follow through. By now, you have a blueprint on how you need to plan your actions and follow through. But what if everything fails? What if you do what you are supposed to do, but nothing goes as it should? More often than not, that is how it plays out. Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, started with a clear goal of creating a platform that would allow small Chinese businesses to sell goods globally. Despite having no background in technology and facing multiple rejections, he took persistent action towards his goal. Alibaba is now one of the largest e-commerce platforms globally. Here is where the powers of persistency and consistency come into play. When you fail to reach a destination, you do not change your decision to get there. You just change the path if necessary. If there is something that is eating you inside out to achieve, then never quit. If one way does not work, you will find another. If that other way does not work, you will find a new one. Nobody can give you any guarantees about the time you will need or how much blood and sweat you will need to spill in the process. Nothing big will ever be achieved, and has never been, without a fair amount of resiliency. You will probably face disappointment, rejection, even hate and humiliation in some cases. If you quit, the people that were trying to put you down will win. But if you don't quit, even if you fail, you will be the winner. Hopefully, today you realize the importance of taking action and setting goals in the journey towards achieving optimal wealth. This video has provided you with effective strategies for goal setting and action planning. What about you? Share your financial goals and the actions you're taking to achieve them in the comments. Subscribe to our channel for more real-world strategies on personal finance and wealth building.